Oh, baby. Freaking decent day. Another freaking stacker. 8.77%. Green day, baby. And we closed at the freaking high of the day, which is beautiful trend continuation. This is absolutely monstrous. I'm excited, man. I'm telling you. How can you not be? How can you not be watching this sort of thing happen? I'm going to get into the details of that. But before we do, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Trey. We freaking talk fast and don't skip class like I preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor or expert. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. Check out this freaking alpaca shirt, dude. This is made for me by Holly. If you're watching this, Holly, I appreciate this. This is freaking dope. I love the freaking sunglasses on the bearded gorilla. It's pretty freaking dope. So, guys, we're going to go over a couple different things here. I'm going to go over the Ortex data, show you what's changed in terms of short interest because it is not significant. Right? There's a lot of questions I'm sure floating around of have shorts covered positions, maybe for some of the newer apes. And we're going to be able to show you that quantifiably and show you that not a lot has really changed. And you can't have a true short squeeze that we're expecting out of AMC without the shorts covering their positions. So we're going to go off with that. And then the short sale volume percentage website that I've been using forever, man. If you're an OG, you've been watching for literally since January. I've been using that website for months and months and months and months. And it looks like they've stopped updating the data. So I don't really know what to do about that. I think that's just out of my control. I'm going to use unusual whales. I'm going to show you the options flow on this, the call options flow, because that's important and indicative of what big money, quote unquote, is doing because it can anticipate big moves in the market. If you see huge put orders coming in for $200,000, $300,000, that could be indicative of a move to come to the downside because smart money, quote unquote, big money at the very least, usually knows when things are going to happen. And we're going to show you that. Right? I want to show you the call options flow because it does actually give more backing to our thesis that the short term here is looking very freaking promising, and then finish it off with a technical analysis. And I want to give you some sort of I want to be able to show you what we're watching right now comparatively to late May and early June, because this is very scarily similar. I really do mean this. I think the big next push is coming once you get that break over 48.50 and that $50 huge run's going to come. I think you're watching some all-time highs coming pretty dangerously close. And if you watch my videos every freaking day, guys, you know I'm very particular about saying stuff like that. I don't do that very often. I don't bullshit, but this is looking really solid. So without further ado, let's just get into the freaking meat and potatoes. Short interest change, right? What is this in case you're a new ape? I'm sure with all this freaking momentum and excitement and sentiment that's starting to grow here with the stock, there's going to be some new people. The short interest website, or Ortex right here, gives you 85% of the exchange reported, FINRA reported data in terms of what is actually happening with the stock. Now, what does that mean, right? FINRA essentially is the grand scheme master. It's the Jedi master of collecting what is reported to the short exchanges. It's just the trackable data. Now, keep in mind that the two big things here is this 85%, and it's also reported, and there are a lot of fines that get slapped all the time on the wrists of big hedge fucks that they'll pay because they won't report the true numbers. So conservatively speaking, 16.79% of the current short interest of free float is what we're working with, which comes out to about 85 million shares. Now, an interesting thing is this. Utilization has gone up while the short interest has, quote unquote, gone down slightly here today. 2.89% change, 3 million borrowed shares returned. So what that implies to me is that since the utilization is going up, you're seeing more shares on loan being taken, 107 million total shares. So I'd actually anticipate the short interest really hasn't changed at all. And in fact, the actual estimation of short interest is just off. It's low because anytime, I've seen this 1,000 times over, anytime that gap continues to grow, it usually means that there's a lagging in actual short interest on this stock. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this actually closer to 18, 19, 20%. I've seen it before. I'm sure we'll see it again. We'll have the actual updated number very soon. It'll be about a week or so. This is released on the 24th, so it'd be about a week from today. We'll really see that number, but who knows what's gonna happen between now and then anyways. But nonetheless, things are looking promising, right? You see that cost to borrow 5%, the cost to borrow average actually going up as well. The utilization going up is going to confirm that and bring us back into the right direction. So that's what you have in terms of the actual short interest website. As always, right? Unless there's actual quantifiable proof that shorts are getting out of their positions, nothing's changed. And you can't see that. You can't see based on 85% of the exchange reported data, the conservative floor in terms of short interest, that anything is really happening here. This is a good sign. This is awesome. It means that these pushes are coming based off of likely derivatives, right? Options running in the money, which gets hedged for by market makers, pushing the stock price up, coming from apes, first and foremost, that are buying the stock because, as we all know, we've heard this a bunch of times, about 80% of the float is owned by retail investors or the freaking apes out there. So we know what's happening here. This is a good sign. It means that the shorts, and no matter how much they tell you on media, I've seen it before, I'm sure we're going to see it again, especially when it starts moving, they're going to say this thing can't squeeze. And you have to stay true to your conviction and stay true to the data because that is what the data freaking says. So next thing I want to show you is unusual whales. Now this is a tool that I use personally to be able to look at big options moves in the market. And why this is important is if you see huge block trades in the dark pool, right? This is kind of a similar sort of thing. No matter what you think about dark pool trading, I personally, I think if it's going to exist, it should at least be available to retail investors, but I digress. The point here is whenever you see big block trades like this, whether it be a call, a put, dark pool execution, it can be indicative of large moves to the up or downside to come in the future. And I have a very specific range set on this. So the things that I'm looking for is urgency. So I want to be able to see that there's a short expiration. And I've actually been able to peek through a couple guys on Twitter to be able to find the exact settings that I like for this. If you like, if you want to dive into this spy guy on Twitter, I think is his name. That's actually where I got this the settings from. So props to you, man. I appreciate that. It actually helped out my my use of this tool a lot. But nonetheless, I want to see a sense of urgency. I want to see short expirations, and I want to see a lot of money going into the moves. And what you can see here is that the last 5 or 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dead-eye call-ins. I'm only looking at one eye. These glasses don't have my vision at all, but they do help with blue lights, so that's good. But nonetheless, the last 6 big buys that have come in on the derivatives market have all been calls. $223,000, $210, $387, $387, $210, $218,000 worth of premium going into AMC. And they bought these, as you can see here, when the underlying was continuously going up, $42.80 all the way up to $46.16. There are a lot of bulls out there who think this is going to freaking rocket. I mean, right now, the stock is trading at $47.41. And there's a guy out here that bet $218,000 that it would go higher than that. That's pretty freaking huge. And not only that, but he bet it by October 1st. So it seems there's a lot of people out there, big money, who are betting this goes in the right direction. There's so many confirmations, guys, which brings me into probably the most important thing, which is what the chart tells you. I've seen a million different opinions about technical analysis, but what you can't deny is technical analysis in a chart tells you the story of a stock. You can almost tell the fundamentals of a company, the sentiment of a company, the success of a company, just by looking at how the chart is moving. And the chart is moving right now in a good freaking direction, right? This is beautiful. We have great momentum. Now, I want to compare this to what you saw back here before this mega run up to $72.62. What do we see, right? Very similar move. You have this sort of breakout of downtrend consolidation candle, very similar to probably what we had about here, right? False breakout, did a little bit of the slow move to the upside, pulled back here a little bit. We see that in this 5-day move. Then you get a nice little, it looks like a small candle because it freaking pales in comparison to what we saw back here, but that was a 13% day. Very similar to what we're seeing right here, right? 20% day. This is the momentum starting to return in the stock. 3 straight green days, and not only that, but good green days. 1.36%, 8% each day, building momentum. That is fucking important. That is huge. The momentum behind the stock is literally what you look for to have the confidence to say that you're getting close to another big move. And I think we are. I really genuinely do, because you can't fake momentum. And another confirmation of this, guys, is the volume continuing to increase. 72 million shares of volume on what appears to be August 27th. The 30th, you had 107 million. Today, 126 million. That steady increase is another confirmation. It backs behind the thesis. That's a beautiful freaking thing, guys. I mean, it really, truly is. You also have this indicator right here. This is highlighted as the 15-day moving average. Now, what do you see happening here? Well, I've got the 200 EMA down here, which is a 200-day period exponential moving average, which is flattened out, right? It kind of tracks underneath the macroscopic price action. And the 15-day MA is a better way of getting an idea of momentum behind a stock. Anytime this green trend line starts to move downwards, it means that the microscopic price action is starting to come back to the grand scale macroscopic price action. You see in these two indicators hook away is a sign that you are moving back into bullish, momentous territory. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm just freaking jacked to the teeth right now, my friend. It's just freaking beautiful. So what do I anticipate happening, right? We can get excited about this all day long, but we have to stay true to, emotionally speaking, what the charts say. And that's what I like to do, right? So I mapped this out, what I thought was going to happen. And it has come to fruition pretty decently well so far. I think you are going to have a test of this $48.40 level right here. And I gave that a box zone, so that could have actually been the test. We don't know yet, right? We see an hourly candle rejection right here at $48, and it pulled back just a little bit, right? In the after hours, but it could end up retesting it again tomorrow. And what I think is going to happen is this third test, because if this isn't, you know, if that, I suppose that could be the third test. It depends on if it rejects or not. But if it rejects off this, I think it's going to come down to this trend line and or somewhere near it, right? It could even be something like this, just a retracement based on previous levels. If you don't know what that means, a Fibonacci retracement, you're just taking the bottom of a run up to the top of a run up, the bottom of the candle wicks to the top of the candle wicks. You get an idea of where this thing would move back to, and that would fall probably somewhere between this range right here. I would argue about 50% to 38.2, so 43.67 and 44.68. If this isn't, if it just hangs there below, that's a different story. But I do think it's going to pull back just a little bit and then come back for that fourth test, as it has many times, and break through that freaking bad boy. This momentum is there. It could be something as simple as this. You open up tomorrow morning. If it is red in the least bit, I think it just pull back, right? It just pull back a little bit and then rocket back up like we've seen many times in the past. But the trend that we are seeing, my friends, is it shows you pretty clear as day right at open what the day is going to look like. That's how it's been. That's how it's been for the last 3 trading days. You got it right here, right? Momentum. You can see the freaking trend. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's come back to that $37.50 level test, right? What does this kind of look like? You saw test, reject, test, reject, test, reject. And that third time that it tested it, it only fell back a little bit. 37.50 down about 36.50. So if you're making that an equivalent, maybe that's $1.50 lower. That could be another idea of where this could fall back to. $47, right? It could just be something as simple as this. Even a higher estimate than what I just based on TA could tell you. I'm telling you this right now, though. Whatever this does, this is momentum. This is huge. This is exactly what you want to see to a fucking T. I've been watching this stock for 9 months, and I've had exciting times. I've had freaking dull times. I've had times when I wish I didn't have to look at the freaking stock sometimes. But these are times when you're going to be excited watching the price action. This is beautiful. This is really a good thing, and I cannot express that in any other way. The TA is great. The short interest is there. The options flow is stupid, ridiculously bullish. The sentiment is there. It's starting to trend again on Google. Everything is lining up, my friends. This is great. I can't tell you if that means we're going to reach all-time highs tomorrow, the next day after that, but I will tell you this. $50, that $48.50 to $50 level, right? That break over $48.50 to get us into that next push. $50, $48.50 is $14.50 from back in May. I'm telling you that right freaking now. This is literally May again. You get that push, you're watching for those new all-time highs and the next leg up in the story and the saga and the history book being written by the apes. And that's what I've got for this video. So blah, 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 no spiel. Drop a like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. I just laughed at that. I sounded so stupid. But anyways, appreciate everybody. Much love to y'all. Light taps and peace.